I'm going to tell you something. I have never thought that I would tell anyone on camera. There was a winter not long ago where I didn't leave my house. For months, I did not leave my house. I worked from home, so nobody noticed. The deliveries came to the door, the world kept moving, and inside that house, I was falling apart in a way I had hidden from every single person in my life. I was divorced, I was alone, my business was suffering, and I had put myself in a financial crisis. And every single day, I would make these beautiful lists of all the things that I needed to get done to fix it. And then I would lay on the couch and not do a single thing. Right? I wouldn't do any of it. And then I would go to war with myself psychologically and emotionally and beat the hell out of myself 12 rounds for not doing those things. And the next day, it was like Groundhog's Day. It would be the same cycle over and over and over again. I wasn't eating right. I wasn't sleeping. My body was breaking down. My mental health was sliding somewhere I had never seen it go before. And I was being a total bitch to myself. The voice in my head, the one telling me I was a loser, that I was less than, that I just needed to try harder, that something was fundamentally wrong with me. Right? That voice kept getting louder and louder and louder until I genuinely thought I was going crazy. I'm Felicia. Hi. Welcome to my second spring era. And I'm just telling you this story because I have a feeling, a really strong feeling, that some of you may be watching this video have some similar experiences. And maybe you're in a winter right now, your own winter. Maybe you're watching this right now and you've just come out of your winter, or you've just entered the winter, or you are in the middle of a blizzard during your winter. Maybe you're sitting on the couch right this moment thinking, how did I get here, right? And is anyone else like me? Well, I want you to hear from me. So many of us women are suffering in a way that we are silent. We're suffering internally. Yeah, I'm one of those women. Or I was. There are many women like us. So, anyway, let me back up a little bit. I got married at 18, I got married right out of the foster care system. I had absolutely no frame of reference of what love was, what it looked like, what it felt like. I mean, my references of family were television shows. The Cosbys. They were perfect. And I thought that's how family life would be. And obviously, I was very wrong with that. That's what I thought love was. So I built a life the only way I knew how. I poured myself into everyone else, just like a lot of you pouring yourselves into your family, your kids, your spouse, your church, what have you, and neglecting yourself. That was my life. And Your business. I poured myself into my business, my job. Like, I was a workaholic. For over 25 years, I gave and I gave and I gave. And I never stopped once to ask if anyone was pouring back into me. I didn't even know that was a thing. And the honest answer is no, no one was pouring back into me. Once you start giving and giving and giving like that, people start to expect it. They start to think that that is your operating system, that is your norm, and it doesn't bother them because it doesn't register for the most part, unless you have some very observant people in your life or people that really care to say, hey, you're doing too much. But a lot of us don't have that. Anyway, the more honest answer is, even if I would have had that, I would not have been able to know how to let anyone else help me, because I've always been in survival mode. I've been in survival mode since I was a little girl. Some of you have also been in survival mode for so long, that it has become the norm. It's not the norm. I'm here to tell you, there's a whole different way. Anyway, I've never seen love modeled, self-love, love modeled. I grew up thinking no one cared about me, no one loved me. So I took that into my adult life, and I just felt like I wasn't worthy of love. But beyond that, I didn't love myself. And I had buried every piece of childhood trauma I carried. When I got married, it was like my brain shut all the things off. I didn't even think about it. I just kept going. And I built a life on top of a grave of significant childhood trauma, horrible memories, and suppressed emotions. I was diagnosed with ADHD in my late 20s after my son was diagnosed. And I was like, wait a minute, I have some of those same symptoms that he has. Up to this point, if you have ADHD, you're very smart, you're emotionally intelligent, you are able to accomplish a whole lot, you have self-determination. All of those good qualities, and the ones, the things that hold you back, you just white knuckle it and you keep going, right? So that's what I was dealing with. Yet once I got that diagnosis and I got medication, I felt like this whole relief, like, oh my gosh, there's a different way. This is how regular people operate. There's so much clarity, and I was getting things done. And it was working out, right? I was super hyper focused. Those are the positive sides. For me, unfortunately, my doctor overprescribed medication to me, and I didn't know any better. But I was taking 90 milligrams of Adderall per day, and that was messing me up. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I was just balls to the walls until my body forced me to go to sleep. And then once my body forced me to go to sleep, I would sleep for days. And that created a whole different set of issues for me. I was able to manage it that way for about a year or so. But then, 90 milligrams of Adderall is just too much for any one person, right? And it really took me down a negative spiral mentally. I thought I was having a psychotic break. That's what it felt like. And I just stopped cold turkey because I did not like the way I was feeling, and it just wasn't working for me. Yes, I could have lowered the dose, but at that point I had just become so scared of medicating myself and feeling so bad that I just stopped cold turkey, like I said. And then I started white knuckling things again. And just trying to get through this life and this world the way I had been doing prior to being medicated. And here's the thing. On the outside looking in, I was very successful. Like, no one would have any clue. I was struggling with the basic things of organizing my house, or I would, take forever to respond to an email because I wanted to word it in a way. I am a very blunt person. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feeling, and I didn't want to be this, that, and the other. Or I would become so overwhelmed, I would be absolutely paralyzed in doing tasks until, of course, the last minute. And if there was a deadline, I thought that I worked well under pressure, because if you know, under pressure and in a chaotic environments, we get things done. It's like almost like we go into a flow state. And so I would procrastinate and wait till the last minute, because I knew in that flow state I would be able to accomplish what I had been putting off for days, months, or what have you, right? From the outside, I was killing it. I had 1,000 ideas a minute. I was able to impulsively, I know now, I was able to impulsively chase those ideas. And I built a lot of real things, but I couldn't keep my car clean. I couldn't manage the laundry load. Just some of the basic things that other people find very simple, I couldn't do. And I was beating myself up about it until I started outsourcing it. Okay, let's get a car detailing company to come to the office and clean the vehicle. That's great. Let's get a housekeeper to come to the house and clean the house. That's wonderful. And because I knew these individuals were coming, I would always do a little spot cleaning before they came. Well, a lot of spot cleaning right before they came, the night before, stay up for 4 hours, or whatever the case may be, and get that done. Again, if you know, right? Yeah, the basic stuff, being a human being on earth, those were really kind of difficult for me. They were crushing me. And I learned how to hide the things. I learned how to mask things. I learned how to create my own little systems. And there was so much shame surrounding my systems, because I've had experiences where other people are like, why do you do it like that? Why do you do it like this? In a very judgmental way. That was kind of my whole childhood and early on in life. So I would hide and I would be shrouded in shame. Yeah, I learned to hide it. I learned to hide a lot. Coping mechanisms dressed up as self-care. And then the divorce came, right? And it broke me open in a way that I wasn't ready for. I found myself for the first time. I got married when I was 18 years old. So I found myself for the first time being completely and utterly alone. Being a foster kid and having a family is like, having a family in a house for a foster kid is those are our goals. And yeah, I didn't have a husband. There were no kids in the house, and I was just alone. No support system. A lot of people that come out of foster care do not have support systems. And as far as family, and I didn't have that. I didn't build a lot. I never had a lot of friends. I have a couple good friends, but I never had a lot of friends just because I kept moving around and, what have you. And so in my adult life, trust was a big thing. And that was one of the reasons I was broken with the divorce, because I trusted as much as humanly possible another person outside of myself. And I didn't have, like I said, that other support system. So it was quiet. And I had never sat in quiet with myself before. So I found myself completely and utterly alone. Now, The quiet was absolutely beautiful. This is, at the height of COVID, and I was already working from home, so that made things normal. I leaned all the way into solitude and quietness and listening to myself and beginning to understand myself. I had a spiritual awakening during that time. And I went days, sometimes weeks, without talking to another human being. And I was happy as I could be because of the spiritual awakening and because of the new experience of just loving on myself and getting to know myself. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. I had done everything, whatever he wanted to do, that's what I did, and I see now how negative all of that was because it's called enmeshment. And we can talk about that at a whole different time. But for the first time, I thought I was healing. I was finally meeting myself. I thought I was healed. And then the long winter came. It wasn't immediate. I was happy going about my life. But then the long winter came and everything, absolutely everything, came up at once. Childhood traumas I hadn't thought about in over 40 years. Memories that I had suppressed, they started knocking on the door like they were banging, like, let me in. I was hyper focused on shady things that people had done to me throughout my life, people that I have never thought about. I was playing relationships and conversations in my head, things that had never, ever crossed my mind before because I was just too busy living my life. And there was a constant loop running around. And I was in my head being a total bitch to myself. I really was. While my entire life was burning down around me. I would cry. I would just cry thinking about all of these people and all these situations. Why doesn't anyone love me? Why, God, did you put me on this earth to go through this? Blah, blah, blah. All of the things. No amount of meditation, no amount of sleep, no amount of trying to talk myself out of it helped. All the things that helped before stopped working. All of the systems that I had in place before, they just all blew up. Everything stopped working at one time. I was in full paralysis. I was convinced I was losing my mind. Physically, I knew exactly what I needed to do. Physically, I could not drag my body to do the things that I needed to do. Right? And then one night, because that's what we do, I went down a rabbit hole. Ladies, those of us that have ADHD, once we started researching, we start researching. And that's exactly what I did. And I started to learn about ADHD in women, specifically women that are in perimenopause or going through menopause or, 45 and older, 40 and over, that type of thing. And I learned a word I had somehow made it to my 40s without ever hearing. I never heard perimenopause. I never heard of that before. I thought you just got menopause and your period stopped and you grew a little facial hair and that was it. I had no idea of the cognitive things that you experience with perimenopause and or menopause. I learned that perimenopause and ADHD are connected in a way no one told us. That estrogen feeds dopamine, and our beautiful brains, are already starving for that. And when it starts to drop, every single coping strategy that we've built, sometimes they stop working, and it seems like they stop working overnight. At least that was my experience. It just seems like one day I was fine, and then the next day I was completely a basket case. And that's, I learned that trauma resurfacing is not a sign of falling apart. It's a sign that your nervous system, or it was a sign that my nervous system finally had the bandwidth to process what had been buried 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I learned that I wasn't crazy. I wasn't broken. I wasn't losing my mind. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not losing your mind, friend. And I am here to let you know. What I found out was that I was a woman in her second spring. And I never heard that terminology, second spring. I always were like, the people that talked about menopause, it was just like hell. You're going to have some hot flashes and it's like hell. That's what I thought I had coming to me. In Asia, they call menopause the second spring, not the ending, not the decline, a second spring, a whole new season of growth that comes from, everything you've already lived through. The minute I read that, something in me cracked open in a different direction. Again, I realized I'm not crazy. I'm not broken. I'm not falling apart. I'm a magical woman. And my truest self has been waiting underneath all of this. And she is finally ready to be unleashed. And so are you. I've decided to make this channel because I've spent over 25 years pouring into everyone else. And I almost didn't survive what happened when there was no one left to pour into but me. Because I had to learn the hard way, alone on a couch in a dark house in the middle of a winter that I thought might kill me. I never loved myself. That's what I learned. I had loved everyone else. I had been the person everyone else leaned on, but the most important person, me, I had skipped. I had to come to grips with that. I had to do the work in isolation because I didn't know where other women were who were like me, who wouldn't judge me, who wouldn't look down at me. You know how some of our women friends can be. So I didn't know there was a we, really. I didn't know there was a we that could understand and hold a space for us. And now I do. And I absolutely refuse to let any other woman sit on her couch this winter, in her winter, thinking she's all alone and she's the only one. So here's what this channel is. It's really me telling the truth about ADHD in women. It's about my experiences over 45, about perimenopause and the cognitive whiplash that no one told us about, no one prepared us for, and about trauma resurfacing in midlife and what it actually means when it does, about the productivity tools that work for the brains we have, not for the neurotypical brain. We have a neurodivergent brain, and a lot of the productivity tools and systems out here, they absolutely do not work for us. How do I know? I've tried them. I've failed. I've beat myself up. Well, why can't you do it? Because it doesn't work for me. Yeah. So here's what this channel is not. No toxic positivity. This is some heavy shit we're dealing with. So I offer you a space where sometimes we just need to vent, and as friends, and we just need to let things out. There are no miracle cures. There's no one size fits all. Anyone that's trying to sell you that is just simply trying to take your money. Why do I know? Because I've given my money to these gurus before. There is no $3,000 coaching funnel ever. Why? Because we are a community of people. Our generation has spent so many so much time masking, you know. I'm just a simple quirky lady. I'm a quirky lady. I'm in my second spring, and I have decided it's going to be the best season of my life. I want to share that with like-minded individuals, and I want to remind you that if you're going through this, it's a second spring. The winter will not last, and there is so much joy and life ahead of you, right? You're a beautiful soul. Our brain works in a different way. You are not broken. And together we're going to figure out the systems that help us all. You're not broken. Your system is broken. I'm not broken. My systems are broken. They need refinement. And I just want a community where no one's peddling bullshit that doesn't work, right? Some things are going to work for you, but some things aren't going to work for you. And it's okay for you to know that it's not you. It's that particular thing is not designed for your brain. You are perfectly fine. You are fine just the way you are, just the way you were made. You are a beautiful soul. You have gifts and talents that the world has not seen yet. And I know that because I was too busy surviving to share those gifts and talents. Let's share them together. I want us to find each other. I want fellowship. I want community. I want a room full of women who finally get it. So anyway, if any of this sounds like your story, if it resonates with you in any way, go ahead and subscribe and tell me in the comments what was your long winter. You don't have to be specific in putting your business all out there. That's totally up to you. Just a sentence if you like. I read every single comment and I want to know who's here. Let's bloom together. Welcome, friend, to your second spring era. It's better over here.